Hey y'all, it's Sharla from the Hartselle Homestead, back with you on the Creative Retreat Kids YouTube channel. It has been a true joy to work through this month's creative study, Come Boldly. Before I record a few notes in my Creative Reflections journal, I'm going to take a few minutes to create a cover. Last month I just kind of left it, kind of give it a little thought and wondered what I wanted to do with it. And I decided I'm simply going to use some watercolor floral scrapbook paper that I had in my stash to create a new front and also inside cover. Now I'm just gluing this to the existing cover of the notebook just to give it some more stability. I do also create a band with that beautiful heart pattern swatch that I kept from the printout when I was working in my planner. I went ahead and printed it because I knew I was going to want to use it somewhere. But anyway, it's in the Faithfilled Digitals this month. And then I put one of the Creative Retreat Kit stickers on just a small piece of handmade paper from my stash. Whenever I go to craft shows and people who are a lot of paper crafters there, they'll have all kinds of little, maybe mixed grab bags of scrap pieces or just a kind of collection of the things that they've made. And I love to collect those little handmade pieces and snippets and kind of bring them home and save them for junk journaling or doing things like this right here. And then I bring out a little memory of something I found at a craft show or thrifting or something like that. So I put that little piece here. I also did a little aging to my heart paper band with the Tim Holtz paper distresser tool. Then I went around the edges of both this little heart band and my cover floral paper as well with the Creative Retreat Kids Harvest Gold ink pad. I've really gone to using this for some of my aging and distressing. Number one, I like the color, and two, I like to use the full ink pad because I can smooth it over and it gives it like a soft fading, darker on the edges and lighter toward the inside. And I've really liked that. So I used that for this project today also. Now, because I'm using the notebook with the in and out pages, I remove the 2 pages that I want to use today and then set the rest of the notebook aside. This was one of the key features that drew me to this journal for this very project. I can pull out the pages I need, put the rest of it aside, and I can work on them flat without the spiral in the middle. This paper is also mixed media paper, so I'm going to put it to the test with today's entry because I'm going to be doing some ink smushing on the back side of last month's entry. I'll tell you, spoiler alert, it does really well. It doesn't even bleed through, seep through, show any color at all. I was really surprised, pleasantly surprised, that it did hold up quite so well. I know even though it's mixed media, some quality of mixed media paper will allow a little bit of seepage, and when water is introduced to paper, it can wrinkle, but it held up beautifully. I'm really excited about all the different things I can try in here. Now, ink smushing, I have been using this technique since I began Bible journaling years ago, and it is still one of my favorite techniques. I teach workshops, and every time I do a new one, I'm like, okay, y'all got to know how to ink smush because it is so versatile. You can just do it so many different backgrounds and mixed colors and so many fun options with this easy technique. I love the different patterns that are created when you put ink onto plastic, introduce a little bit of water and move that ink around and then just randomly smush it all over the page. I just love it. You can do it with paint as well. It doesn't have to be ink. Here I use the Peachy, which is another of the Creative Retreat Pigment Inks. And I love the watercolor results from this technique. I'm telling you, if you don't use it, give it a try. You're going to love it. I added some of the watercolor florals here to the opposing top corners of my pages. When I prepped for my planner, I printed extras, which, you know me, I got to fill up a sheet, and I knew I would use these florals over and over in a lot of different projects. Even if it's not for this kit, these florals are going to go in my little stash. I'm also using some of this beautiful kit washi to just frame in the bottom corners by doing just some vertical cross over the horizontals and then let the little torn edges show on the ends, top and bottom and left and right. I like the way it frames, and it's like, okay, here's the decoration, and now I have a lot of space with which to work and add some notes. Now, my reflection entry this month is really focusing on taking notes over the study. I really love how Jesse's outline of our focus verse from Hebrews 4:16 covers some really good details. She reminds us that he holds a space for us to come to him. So then she pulls out 3 let us statements or points from this key verse. And so I'm using the Victory Alpha to create kind of an outline title on the left side or left margin of my page. Then I'm going to create 3 wonky outline boxes for notes on each of these points. So one is for let us approach God and commune with him. Let us receive his mercy. And thirdly, let us find grace to help us in our time of need. Now, I used the little word Fetty stickers from the kit. There was one for approach, receive, and find, and I used them as little headers in the top of my wonky outline boxes. And then I went around those pencil lines once I finished with a purple gel pen to give it some color and kind of frame them in. Now, as I work through my reflections, I do read and answer the questions. You know, we have these wonderful reflection questions with every one of our studies, and I think those are so important. But this time, I may not, or in this project, I may not always answer them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in order. Sometimes it may come together in the creative entry just like that, and I'm going to love it. And sometimes, like this time, I wanted to have more room for notes. I do also use my scripture writing planner and my word cards and answer some of these notes or these questions, there as well. Now, I'm also going to create a special place for a reflection point number 5, journal a prayer. And we're going to kind of create that over here on the right side. Okay, so to prep for this little hidden journaling space that I'm going to create over here, I am cutting 1 inch by 1 inch squares from the pattern paper swatches from the Faithfilled Digitals. Now, I used all 4 from this month's kit, and then I pulled one from my stash just to give me one more pattern to use. Now, if y'all follow my shop on social media at all, you will not be surprised at what we are creating. We're going to do a little paper quilted heart over here. I have been a barn quilt painter for several years and absolutely love them. And then this year, my creative growth goal is to learn more about quilting, like actual quilting, sewing pieces of fabric together to create quilts. I've said for me to paint as many as I've painted, I need to be able to make them as well. So here we go. And I've tried before, got a little intimidated. My points didn't come out right, and I left it. But this year is the year for the quilt. To move from small sewing projects and whatnot and actually create a quilt. I'm about 2/3 finished with my first quilt top, and now I think I'm addicted to it. I really love it. There's just something that's very satisfying and creatively challenging and freeing all at the same time, putting all these beautiful patterns, colors, and shapes together. They're just it's endless. Just like being able to do it with paper and incorporating it into my Bible journaling. Just so many creative outlets. I love it. For me, I every year give myself a creative growth goal. Do y'all do that? If you do, tell me some of them in the comments below, because I would love to see all the different creative things that we're trying. Last year, it was crochet for me. I learned how to crochet, and I love it too. Made all kinds of fun little things. But this year, it's quilting. Okay, back to this little project. All I'm doing is taking a 4x4 little piece of scrap paper, and I'm finding center. On the top of that center, I am doing 4 little 1-inch squares. On the bottom of that center, I'm doing 2 little 1-inch squares. So you see a row of 4. Below it, centered beneath, is a row of 2. And then all I do is take half square triangles and border all the way around to create the little points at the top, point at the bottom, and fill in the sides. I saw this on a video. I will link it below if I can get it to link. But I saw it on a video, and I thought, oh, well, of course I can do that. I have a giant stash of scrapbook paper. And so I started making them for Valentine cards and anytime cards and all of that, and absolutely love them. And so I thought, what a great way, with it being February, being Love Month, and this is something I've just been learning to do. I wanted to incorporate it into my 2-page spread. So I am using this little quilted heart as a cover. I'm putting a little flap, a little hinge, if you will, on the right side of it, and using it to cover my prayer. So it's like a little hidden journaling box. Now, once I finished gluing all of these little pieces down in the shape of my heart, I did run it through my Sizzix with an embossing folder. It gives it a really cool quilted finish or look. It's also very forgiving if your little points are off. Maybe there's a little gap in between some of your pieces. It kind of all goes away because that embossing impression makes it look like it's been quilted, and you kind of lose all of those little imperfections, and it becomes a beautiful piece, perfectly imperfect, right? Now, I then glue it in with my little hinge, and I did take a pencil, traced out my space, so that way when I was recording my prayer underneath, that I knew what my edges would be. And then after I finished my prayer, I did go back and erase that so that it wouldn't show up. And then I can just open and close it as I need to, but my prayer is hidden in private. I had so much fun putting these pages together, and I really hope that you do find some time to join us in this month's creative study, Come Boldly. Most importantly, I hope you find some time to approach the throne of grace and commune with God. Y'all have a blessed day.